There are a ton of great keyboards out there right now, and I've tested almost all of them. Like this keyboard, the Ajax AK820 in the $40 price range, the Raze 75 in the $100 price range, and even some amazing $200 options. But when it comes time for you to choose, it can be tough. Do you want to start by dipping your toes in with something cheap or diving in with something expensive? That was my first time jumping off a diving board at the age of 30, by the way. Impressive, I know. Well, in this video, we're looking at the best keyboard at every price point to help you figure out the best one for you or to validate your previous purchasing decisions. Yeah. So whether you're getting your first keyboard, looking to upgrade your current one, or stuck in a deep cycle of keyboard content, this one is for you. But to understand what you get at each price point, I want to show you something really quick. Because after you understand this, you'll intuitively just have a better idea of what kind of buyer you are. This is the price to value curve, something I totally didn't just make up, by the way. It's legitimate. And we'll be looking at it today with 4 main price points: ultra budget, budget, mid-range, and high-end. 1, the ultra budget tier is around $40. Here you get a lot of value for every dollar you put in, which is what makes it so attractive. And which leads you to number 2, the budget range of $60. Here you maximize value, but you're not gonna get something that's really nice and polished. Then at $100, which is number 3, you start to see that what you get for every dollar slightly diminishes. You get major upgrades though. And number 4, the $150 to $200 price point, you see a bigger drop off in value for every dollar you put in. You'll still notice some improvements, but it won't be as huge as going from budget to mid-range. And then everything after this point is more in the luxury or custom range. Whether you pay more because it's just something custom or unique or limited quantity, that's just how it is. It's not because there's more value. So with that in mind, let's jump into the first phase. And we're starting with a price point that surprises people the most because yes, you actually can get a decent keyboard for under $40. We're going to start with the ultra budget picks and then work our way up because I think that's the journey most people take. And I know what you're thinking. How can I get anything good for that price? Well, this price tier may surprise you. I know it surprised me. Now, I've looked at a few different options in this price range and I'll be honest, they're usually pretty bad. They're ultra hollow, they're plasticky, and they have those old school Otomu blue clicky switches that just sound terrible. Like all these $20 keyboards I picked up on Prime Day. These are all horrible, but I did find a couple great options. So this price range is for you if you're on a tight budget, but you still want something better than a classic membrane keyboard, you know, the free one you get with your computer. But even at this price point, you'll find a lot of membrane keyboards like the Keychron B1 Pro, which is modeled after the ultra popular Logitech MX keys, but for less than half the price. This one caught my eye because of the clean design and ultra thin and lightweight feel. So it wouldn't be bad for taking on the go or if you're used to typing on the thin Apple keyboard. The only problem, it's not mechanical. It still has that mushy membrane feel without the nice stock and some satisfying oomph. And if you're watching this video, my guess is you want a mechanical keyboard because if we wanted membrane, we'd be boring and probably just stick to whatever keyboard you get for free because free is the best value. Which leads me to the first pick in the ultra budget range. I reviewed this one a couple of months ago and was blown away by how much value it offered for the price. Now it's far from perfect. Everything is far from perfect at this price point, but what you get is a lot for every dollar. This keyboard is the Ajax AK820 coming in at $39. Now this is the pro version because I modded the original version. Now if you want something that looks pretty dang good, although a little gamery and loaded with a ton of features, this could be for you. It comes with a nicely knurled knob, keycaps in a tritone design, and even a gasket mount. It offers a lot and seems like a no-brainer purchase, but the closer you look, the more everything definitely feels a bit on the cheaper side. The keycaps feel hollow to type on, they have little errors everywhere, and it doesn't come close to the typing experience of the next tier up. But the biggest downside to this board is that it lacks wireless connectivity. Sometimes having that extra flexibility of, oh, I want to connect to Bluetooth or my dongle is really freaking nice. So while it's decent, when comparing it with higher end picks, you can definitely notice some flaws. Which leads me to my next pick, and this one seriously shocked me for the price. But before doing so, I have to warn warn you, we need to budge a little bit on the $40 price point we set earlier, but not by much, just $4 more, and it might just be the ultra budget king. It's the Kissent KN85. Kissent. Now I know what you're thinking. This thing looks weird. It's got a weird name. And yeah, it looks like a strange love child of 75% and 10 keyless layout. It's a little weird. But let's set that initial impression aside for a second. You really shouldn't judge by a book by its cover. Judge it by its personality. Especially not this one, because it may just be the best keyboard at this price. It's loaded with more features than you may expect, like a gasket mount, Mac and Windows compatibility, and a decent overall typing sound and experience. Pretty nice. Plus, did I mention it's got wireless with Bluetooth and 2.4G? Now that's actually pretty crazy at this price. It's so good I may want to give this thing a kiss, but I kissn't for now. And the entire time I've used it, I keep saying to myself, there's gotta be a catch, right? Besides the weird layout, I couldn't find anything wrong with it besides a few funky things, such as the keycaps looking weird, and really honestly, this layout is so strange. I really don't like where certain keys are placed, like the delete key, it just doesn't make sense, and the fact it doesn't feel quite as responsive as other keyboards when I type, even in wired mode, so maybe it has a lower polling rate or something, but it's honestly pretty insane for the price. That being said though, at this price range, unless you're on a super tight budget, I think it's a smart move to save up a bit more for the next range of products, especially if you're going to be using the keyboard for a few years. If you want me to do a review on this one though, let me know. Sounds pretty nice though. Ooh, that is nice. Which leads us to the next tier. I'm calling this one budget, at around the $60 price point, give or take a bit. Now, who buys in this price range? Honestly, I think it's around 60% to 70% of all people who buy a keyboard. Usually, it's when you've had a cheap Redragon board for a while and you want something a little nicer, something creamy. I should stop saying that. In my opinion, this is a really smart price range to purchase a keyboard if you want maximum value before any diminishing returns, because you can get something really good in this price range most people will be happy with. And if timing is right, you could even get a monster deal during days like Black Friday or Prime Day. So in this range, you've got the ultra popular picks that everyone knows about. The most common one is the Aula F75, a keyboard that popularized the term creamy, because it's honestly the best way to describe the typing sound. It comes in the 75% form factor, but Aula pretty much has every single size available now, but this one is the most popular. If you want a budget keyboard, most people say, just get the Aula F75. It's that simple. The keyboard comes with a knob on the top right, a super bouncy gasket mount, albeit a little softer in some areas than others, and full wireless connectivity. You also get a variety to choose from between the colors, sizes, switches, and more, although the switches are all linear for some reason. I personally love the reburst they sound and feel the most satisfying to type on. Now, if you want something a little different, but very similar at the same price, you can go for the Pro version of the Ajazz 820. This one is a lot nicer in my opinion and worth saving the extra $10 to $20 for, because the keycaps are higher quality, which makes it sound and feel a whole lot better to type on than the not Pro version. But the downside is it comes with a screen, so that could be a bonus or a deal breaker depending on who you are. The colors are definitely a different vibe than the Aula too, so you get a different flavor of the same thing, essentially. So the biggest downgrade to this price range is two things. The first one is software. You have to download some really sketchy looking software that barely works, and you're not even sure if it'll break your PC or not. So if you plan on remapping your keys, don't go for this price point. And the second downside is the fact that these keyboards are entirely all plastic. That's right, you don't get a nice heavy aluminum board with a cool design, but what you do get is not wrist pain when you lift them up like this. Speaking of aluminum design, that's reserved for the next tier. This price range is an exciting one. It's the mid-range tier at around $100. I think most people would benefit from getting a keyboard in this price range simply because it offers the most variety and value. You do start to see some diminishing returns here, as the keyboards won't necessarily sound or feel a whole lot better, but you notice a big bump in the quality. of the boards and the feature sets. The mid-range tier has a lot of the full aluminum boards we mentioned earlier, but you also have some great low profile and thinner options too. These typically cost more than normal mechanical keyboards, but are more portable and a little easier on the wrist. If you know what you're looking for already and have some serious spending money, you're probably ready to pick something up in this price range. So some great unlocks you get at this price are keyboards like the Lo-Fi Flow Lite, a thin, thoughtful, and dare I say, creamy low profile keyboard. This one is my usual go-to if you want something thin and portable. It can connect via 2.4G, Bluetooth, and wired, and it's a pleasure to type on. It's so nice. It even has this little scroll wheel on top for changing the volume. But it is the low profile king at only $99. Of course, if you're looking for low profile, there's also the Kick 75. That costs $89 from Newfie. This board is also really nice, but I really don't like how all of the pieces would just fall off randomly, like I already lost this piece. Things just disappear. It also didn't quite match the same typing experience. But what if you want a proper mechanical keyboard and none of this low profile business? Well, now you're pretty close to keyboards like the Rainy 75, my favorite all-around keyboard of 2024. If you look at this price on Amazon, it's usually above $100 by quite a bit, around $130, $140. But if you wait for a good sale, you can pick it up for a much lower price. There's a reason I always recommend it. I just feel like Wabkey nailed the keyboard down to the smallest details. The sound, the feel, the look, the theme. It's called the Rainy 75 because it creates a raindrop-like sound, and after this thing popped off, it created an entire arms race where every single keyboard tried to copy it and just lower the price as much as possible. Now, it has a few things I don't like about it as well, such as the on-off switch being underneath caps lock. But that's an unhinged rant for another day. Oh, how I love to rant about that, but not today. One other board that's gotten pretty close is in fact the Brydge 75, which has an added feature all while being cheaper. It comes with a ball catch mechanism that allows you to open the keyboard up without unscrewing it. So if you want to tinker with all the internals, such as trying different foam configurations, this is super easy to do. This is a feature that's usually reserved for the next price tier, so it's sort of surprising to see it here, but it doesn't come without its flaws either. The overall finish of the board doesn't feel as high quality as the Rainy, and it sort of feels bare bones without any additional flair, no cool backplate, like the little rain cloud on the front, or other things. It's bare bones. Now, another thing worth mentioning is that you unlock access to a ton more layouts at the $100 price point. Because the majority of buyers are looking for the same size, 75%, the keyboard companies are able to offer those at a lower price. More people buy them, more get made at factories, factories can make more and lower their prices due to how many they're making. So you get lower prices. But when it comes to layouts that are less common, you end up paying more because they don't benefit from the same scale. So in the $100 price range, you unlock some great full-size keyboard options. That's right, real full-size keyboards. If you're working in spreadsheets or doing any number-heavy tasks, these are for you. The first one is the Olla F108, which offers an all-around excellent typing experience, all while being a true full-size keyboard. It has a number pad, a nav cluster, and every key on the keyboard. While the Eppomaker Galaxy 100, a really high quality feeling keyboard with an aluminum body, is 96%. But I like this one because it comes with the big zero and the enter key, and it sounds so creamy. I hate it when full-size keyboards have a small zero. It essentially forces your thumb to do some weird yoga every time you press it. Oh, that sounds nice. And you also have the Keychron V6 Max, another true full-size option for Keychron with a gasket mount, 2 dongles, USB-C and A, which is really nice for typing on the iPad, iPhone, computer, anything pretty much. So as you can see at this $100 price point, a lot of great doors open up. So it's an exciting place to save your money for. But if you want to go up to the next tier, that's where you go into the more top of the line stuff, aka the good stuff, the buy it once and you're done forever sort of stuff. These are the keyboards in the $150 to $200 price range. This is my favorite range to test out because the quality here goes hard, but there's definitely diminishing returns at this price point. But you know what? You buy a keyboard here because you're too deep in it to leave. You want something truly nice and top of the line, not just good enough. You don't need to go this high, but if you do, you might never need to buy another keyboard again. Come join me, dive into the pool. You won't die. trust me. Which I did because I started training for my first ever triathlon sprint, the shortest distance, in September, which is like a baby triathlon. Wish me luck, I definitely need it. Now we're not talking about truly one of one or fully custom keyboards at this point. I'd put that in its own tier of luxury where it can go anywhere between $300 and more, $1,000 plus. So luxury is for another video. But some keyboards at this price are options like the Iquinix MQ80, my favorite low profile keyboard right now. The thing is all aluminum. It's heavy with a sexy design. Between the cherry red tab on the side, the 10-gram design on the back, and the unbelievably soft gasket mount, this is a low profile keyboard that truly feels as good as a normal mechanical keyboard. But speaking of normal mechanical keyboards, there's options like the Evo 80 and the Crush 80. These are 10 keyless keyboards, so a little bit bigger than the normal 75%, and they're just on a league of their own. They're so dreamy. They take everything I love about the Rainy and they just make it better. The finishes on the aluminum are nicer, the sound is creamier, the gasket mount is softer and more bouncy, and the keycaps are so premium. The Crush 80 comes with a little nice RGB side glow and an EKG side glow, so they start to feel more like a work of art instead of just a keyboard. And obviously, they're not perfect either. They both have really weird design choices where the on-off switch is underneath caps lock for some reason. Keyboard companies need to stop that. So to turn it on/off, you do need to take off a key, which sucks. But apparently there's some hack where you can do it with a keycap puller or something. If you know something about that tech, drop a comment down below. But this price point is definitely dropping a bit more on a keyboard than most people would expect, because your money is definitely not wasted. You're still getting more for what you put in. There's just obviously diminishing returns. But it's so nice. It really is nice. That's such a nice keyboard. So this next board is something that I really didn't think anyone would like because it has a feature that's reserved for gamers. Hall effect. Hall effect switches let you change your actuation distance and have SOCD and all that gaming lingo stuff that I don't use. But what I didn't expect was for Hall effect to feel so satisfying to type on that it even makes me type faster. And this is the K2HE, one of my favorite Hall effect keyboards right now. For one, it's super sleek with its wooden accents on the side. I mean, if I didn't tell you, would you even think that this keyboard could game? Because it really can. The software is in browser and it's super easy to use. You can change the actuation distance up and down, turn on rabbit trigger, SOCD, all that gaming stuff. So you can pick between Windows and Mac. You could do full Bluetooth, you could do 2.4. It's awesome. And it even has RGB. It looks really clean. The keycaps are a different profile, but they're satisfying to type on. They also come in a white version that looks just as good, but for now I really like the black version. Sure, it doesn't sound as good as this, the Evo 80, but for what you get out of it, it really does make me type faster, I believe, and I enjoy it so much. So what type of buyer are you? Do you go for value, the best, or somewhere in between? Or a lost soul who owns way too many keyboards for their own good? Let me know about down below and check out this video here.